There's a great poet once. He said, if you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while the DJ revolves it.
That's a lyrical assassin.
I think his name was Strawberry Ice.
Strawberry Ice?
Yeah, he could have been Natty Ice.
Natty Ice.
Do you remember that stuff?
No, I hated that stuff. I remember it, but I didn't never drink that stuff.
Yeah, it was gross. I actually had beer in my trunk when I was younger. I'm not kidding, for like 3 months. And we got desperate. I was like 19 or 20 years old. We got desperate. And I ended up drinking that warm. I don't know how I survived my teenage years based upon that.
I do. I just worked.
You just worked continuously?
Yeah, no, I really did. I was pretty boring. I wasn't very adventurous as a child, as a teenager. I didn't really. No, I just cared about work. Mm-hmm. Making money was important. Trying to have a job. Maybe it's because of our income level for the family. But yeah, no, by the time I was 14, I had a job. And by the time I was 16, I was working full time, plus going to school. And then, I just cram whatever amount of hours into the weekend I could. And thought working was going to solve my problems. And then I just worked a lot.
Yeah, so if you amassed enough money that all the issues in life would be taken care of.
Theoretically, right? Because it was the answer that was spoken to me by the world, right? So, but I don't know. There's plenty of people who party and go crazy when they're younger, and then they turn out to be, at least successful.
Sure.
Who knows if they're happy?
Yeah, I metered it because I worked hard. I hung out with people that were like just, Tide Pod challenges didn't even compare to what they were doing. Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think I knew a guy once who drank gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh,
right.
Geez. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just noticed that you're wearing a shirt that I gave you 10 years ago.
Was that from, it was yours?
It was mine.
Yes.
Yeah. That is,
see?
That's got miles on it.
Still have it around.
How's there any tread left on those tires?
And I'll tell you what, man, everybody loves this shirt.
It's a great shucking shirt.
They love it.
It says Nebraska, it's a great shucking state.
Yep. And
I see what they did there.
Are you even from Nebraska? No.
I'm not, no.
No, neither am I.
Right. Why did I buy it, and then why did I give it to you? And how do you still own it?
Because it's a good feeling shirt.
Is it?
I wear it a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a really nice. It's like one of those like super vintage. It's got like oil in it, and
it's got character.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful shirt. I got a couple of them like this. I got like a vintage Star Wars shirt too, that I just wear.
Yeah.
And a Mr. Chips. I got a Mr. Chips.
I gave you that one too.
Did you really?
I gave you that shirt.
Oh my God! I
Yeah.
have the Mr. Chips still.
2 of your favorite shirts are ones I gave you like 11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, and I didn't even recognize that or remember that.
Yeah, I don't
because this is just a shirt that I've had for so long that I have no idea where it came from.
Well, now you know. So, and now anybody listening to this knows where you got at least 2 of your shirts within your wardrobe.
I actually have quite a few shirts that have been given to me from people's hand-me-downs. Mm-hmm. Not to the factor as in like, I went to, because I go to Savers or Goodwill and I buy a lot of stuff there too. But yeah, I've got a lot of shirts that people, I'm not going to use these anymore. And I'm like, I'll take them.
Yeah.
And yeah. So,
yeah. One man's trash is another man's treasure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's my philosophy all day long. Because, I pick up trash all day, all kinds of stuff.
You picked up a helium tank once.
Yeah.
You had no use for it.
Yeah.
You're just like, I might need a helium tank one day.
I never used it.
Yeah.
Never used it.
But you had it, just in case.
No, yeah, and it was a working one too. Oh, you know where it ended up goes? It got passed to another friend, and they have a welding shop, so they used it. But yeah, I never used that one.
Yeah, you find my favorite thing to do is so I like to put funny ads on Craigslist. Okay. I just get all inventive with my writing. Oh. And so I put a mysterious pile of cords. I just took like computer cords and all this stuff. I didn't even take a good picture of it. I just threw them all together. They looked like they were all tied and tethered and corded in a way that would drive you crazy. And I put that out there for free, just a free box of cords, just to see who would respond. I got like 5 or more responses within 24 hours.
Wow.
I want your mysterious box of cords is what people said. I will take that off your hands. You don't even know what's in it. Like, what are you going to do with that? I tell them they can make friendship bracelets with the cords if they want to. They can make like an 80s style, like Karate Kid bandana.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever you want to do.
Oh my gosh.
Jump rope with it.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh.
But people are just so... I gave a box of computer stuff once, and the guy messaged me back. He said, if you have anything else like that ever, let me know.
Wow.
It's like he just wants whatever I have to give him.
There you go.
And he is going to make use of it. He's going to make some really cool bandanas.
Yeah, I make a lot of use of the random trash that I find.
Yeah.
One of the artistic pieces that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the air ducts that came out of a Five Guys.
Oh yeah, you showed me those before.
Red air ducts.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn them into vertical inspirations and potentially even light posts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not quite sure on the full picture just yet, but
yeah,
definitely going to reuse it.
So I'm going to take that mysterious pile of cords right now we were just talking about,
okay,
and actually turn that into the topic.
Let's do it.
Before you're
I want to hear how you transform.
Prestidigitation. That's what I'm doing. Prestidigitation.
Good word.
Yeah. But first, one more quote from that same poet.
Which poet?
All right, stop.
Oh, Jesus.
Collaborate and listen.
Oh, that poet.
Ben is back with an all-new invention.
I'm pretty sure it's...
Something. Grab a hold of me tightly.
He's an assassin of something. I don't know if it was lyrics.
Will it ever stop? I don't know. Turn on the mic and I'll flow. So the topic, in a roundabout way,
okay, is
this notion of projection, right? And things holding to form. It is an attachment to form, right? So that person who, one of the chords, saw utility. Maybe they're going to make a jump rope out of it. I have no, maybe like a really cool belt. I don't know what they're going to do with those chords. But you have this ability to see the potential in things and actually convert it into something else. But that attachment to form is actually something that we play into within relationships. So a lot of issues I've had lately has been somebody projects something at you. They're angry, but they're angry at the world.
Right.
And then you become the projection of their anger.
Yeah.
And as long as you become that attached form, or for instance, within finances and things like that, lately I've been thinking because crypto is going crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And I've been so focused on it, and I keep on feeling like I'm missing the boat, fear of missing out, and all that stuff, right? So my neck had gotten really tight. You commented on it, I couldn't turn my head a few days ago, and it was because I was feeling so much tension. Like I'm missing out. I got to put all my money into this. If I don't, then I'm not going to be abundant.
I've just totally thrown a splash of money into it, and I'm just waiting to see what kind of ripple it makes. I have no idea what's happening with it.
Yeah.
I keep losing money all the time. And then sometimes I don't, but I don't know.
But not attaching to form, keeping that openness to how life can be.
Right.
Like you have the stuff in your backyard. It's off to the side. It is yet to be defined in your world as a form, but you will actually have this kind of creation within your mind, this intuition, and before you know it, you'll go, those ducks from Five Guys. I can convert that into something. You already see it within your mind's eye right now.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you think that is the ability to perceive growth and invention and being able to project that futuristic kind of aspect, or do you think it's a self-revelation, introspection that continuously evolves? Because I mean, the Five Guys things, right?
Sure, yeah.
The moment I saw them, they had a destination.
Yeah.
They had a placement. They had an organization.
Did you see what it was going to become?
Three-dimensionally, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Most of the things in my life, when they come to that mental manifestation, right? It is so crystal clear, and I'm like, not the form, not the final form, not the exact shape that it's going to be, but it's emotional energy for what it's going to hold in my place. And then I start building a path that will interject with it.
Yeah.
So eventually my path will get there. Right now it's just a dot. It has nothing to it. And I might not even work on it, or I might work on some of it, and that dot gets a little bigger. But for me, for the most part, it's just this mental manifestation of a dot. And my path, my journey meanders in its what I perceive to be a forward direction, and then gathering these dots along the way.
Yeah.
And so I've put all these places. People think it's super random, and they go, James, you're crazy. What are you doing? This is just a bunch of junk. And I'm like, no, they all have their place.
Yeah.
They're already predestined to have some sort of connection in my path. Now, what my path is to get there and what my path will be, I have no idea.
Right.
And that's not part of what I'm worried about. But there's also the growth, the inter portion of it that you can take into you, and you can say, okay, I'm willing to have these adapt. I'm willing to allow this to create new form, and even to like the aspect of the helium tank that just didn't manifest into something, the ability to willing to pass it on to somebody else.
Right.
So what do you think the two thought philosophies or feelings potentially have to the topic, to that?
Well, what I want to jump off with it is, this sounds like an RPG, like a role-playing game. Like
Okay.
I keep on seeing like a Highland sword, right? And you got the fire tunic, and you got like a Deku nut.
I got to definitely have the fire tunic.
Yeah, I've heard about your Deku nut, by the way.
Oh, ooh. Shh, don't tell anybody else.
And the
It's my
shield,
secret weapon.
right? And the shield and everything else, like Link from Legend of Zelda, right?
Yeah.
You gather these things together. There's it made me think of there's a principle called Chekhov's gun, which we may have talked about.
There's a principle?
It's within place. So Chekhov's gun is, if a gun shows up in the first act, it has to fire within the third act. Nothing is superfluous. Nothing is extraneous. So when you get something within life, like you're drawn to something, it's not extraneous. It's likely going to infiltrate and become part of your life in some way.
Yes.
And so I was.
Yes, and I see it crystal clear.
Right.
Like that is a piece of me, especially tangible things. People and emotions have some of that as well.
Yeah.
For me, but not as concrete because there's an interaction. And
Right.
I can't control the equation of the interaction.
Yeah.
I can just control the inspiration, which is also one of the reasons why I probably am so inspirational to most people that come through my journey, because I see a lot of potential. I see potential in people.
Yeah.
So just like I see the potential in that item, I can see that same potential in that person.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
then we work towards that potential. Now the problem is there's two people involved
Right.
in that potential. And if you're not willing to walk with me, or you're not willing to look at some of the things I would be inspired for you to look at, then that potential fragments away and you disappear.
Right. And it's like seeing the light in somebody.
Yeah.
Like
Very much so.
yeah. There was Eric Erickson, famous psychologist, and he actually, I think it was, I don't know if he was into psychoanalytics, but he brought a form of psychology into the world and neurolinguistic programming. But I thought I was being clever many years ago. I'd look at somebody when they came in. I did not see them as broken.
Oh, okay.
All right, step one, don't see somebody as broken.
Yeah.
Don't see them as anyone that needs to be fixed.
Right.
See them as the light they are, and what comes forth is the light. So
God,
that's
I was a bad fixer for a lot of years too.
for many people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a disaster.
Well, and then what you're doing is you're taking that and you're seeing it with only a certain light or certain cast.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Some of these things you're getting, like you got the helium tank, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to use this in my life, but I think it has application. And when you realize it didn't have application that for you,
Right.
but it was supposed to go somewhere else, you go, okay, cool, it goes over here. I've done that a lot. People have bought me many crystals over the years, and sometimes I'll be with somebody, I'm like, this belongs to you, or I'll hold something, and I'm like, I think this belongs to you. I think this needs to go over here.
Yeah.
And it's like passing notes within class. You're just giving that, you're letting that energy flow within the universe. But when you begin to perceive something as a fixed state, like if I see you as broken in any way, or if I don't see the potential or the light within you, that I'm actually conscribing you, or I'm like keeping you closed in such a way to where you don't have the potential to become, not within my consciousness,
So what you're saying in that is, to not narrow your field, not narrow your view, but to make sure that, that stays open and more vast.
Oh, absolutely.
So that way you're not closing that view down, because and it really kind of has a predetermined failure rate
Yeah.
on it. Oh man, you're broken. I need to fix you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you're just unique. I need to discover with you.
Right.
I need to play the video game with you.
Or be willing to
You know?
love them however they're expressing, And if they are doing something, like I had someone come up to me the other night, and she was upset at something I had done. I didn't respond to some of her messages online, and she got really upset.
It was that dating app again. I told you to stay off that dating app.
I've never done a dating app.
Oh my! I have. They're terrible.
Yeah, that's what I keep on hearing.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it's got to work for somebody.
I mean, it does.
Yeah.
You can get laid, but
right.
Lifelong connections.
To be clear, what he's describing is the Hawaiian lay. You can also get poid.
Oh yeah. Don't worry.
And you can also get hula scooped.
I'm gonna try that one later.
All those things become verbs very quickly.
Okay.
No, I didn't respond to a message, and she came at me, and she came at me with anger, and I said, "You're coming at me with anger and frustration right now." And she said, "Well, friends don't do that." And I said, "Life has been crazy. I didn't mean not to do that. I love you. I love you. What can I do for you?" And immediately she softened, and I was able to connect with her. But if I would have come with her with anger back, I see that she just wants me to love her. I love her anyways. I love everyone. But she needed to know that I love her and that I don't feel disconnected from her. No, we're not dating or anything like that. But it's just a matter of how people come at you.
It's an example of that preconceived notion.
Sure.
So, just like the pile of cords.
Yeah.
If you think it's just a pile of cords, that's all it's ever going to be.
Right.
And if she just thinks that you're angry with her, or you think she's angry with you, then your story's over.
There's nowhere to move.
Right. So it's offering that opening to say, wait, this now or us could be different. And I've had several of those conversations. I just had a really great conversation with one of my lovers tonight that was really great, and it was just trying to work on that concept of what one needs versus what one asks for versus someone's stipulations and what they mean to them, right? And then in the end, you can kind of ask the questions, hey, is this what you're trying to project? Are you trying to make me a pile of wires? Are you giving me this preconceived notion because you have this expectation on me that I need to perform like this? And because I'm not performing like this, how have I let you down?
Yeah.
And then the bigger question is how come you haven't seen me for me and the joy I can bring you, or the joy I do bring you? You like me. I'm a nice person. I like you. You're a nice person, right? So we have those aspects. But the pieces that are closing down are these: you're broken, so I have to fix you. Or you have something I want, or you are something I want. But I don't owe you anything.
Right.
We don't owe anybody anything.
No.
So having that conversation to say, okay, these are our preconceived notions. These are our things that we think needs to have happened, but I really want to open up that discussion forum. I really want to open up those equations to say, I'm here to help you. I'm here to just exist. What do you need to say?
I'm here to connect.
And then that can really, you take away the limitation. You take away the limitation of the item, of the people, of the possibility, and you in that aspect you create art together. You become artistic because you now flow in a manner that is with less limitations. And the goal theoretically would be to probably succeed with no limitations.
Right.
But we still, probably have a series of limitations.
And the limitations are always within ourselves. It's how we perceive the world and people around us, but people just want to connect.
Yeah.
And when you take away, like I've got a family friend where they don't care about my business. They don't care about the spiritual things I've gotten into. They love me. So when I connect with them, I talk about TV shows they're into. I talk about their dogs and their animals. I talk about plants. I talk about, childhood and different things like that we've connected with. But I just find a way to connect with them. It's not artificial. I love talking to them about them. And we're connecting through the heart space. But where they can connect with me is where I connect. But jumping in a little bit of a different direction, because what keeps on playing with this is that you talked about crypto and investing and things like that. You just want to see where it goes. I've been that way too, but I got into a logical fallacy recently. And
fallacy.
Yeah, fallacy.
Oh, man.
Not phallic.
Oh, I was hoping it was going to be phallic.
Well,
it could be false.
It could be a false phallic. I don't even know what that would be.
The fallacy. Fallacy?
Fallacy. Yeah, the fallacy is our belief system. So again, attachments holding the form. I see you as this immense potential. What comes for us is this immense potential. I look at the world through the same lens and I see this immense potential. The minute I begin to apply limitation to things, I actually get to experience limitation within myself. So I had, again, terrible neck pain. I never have neck pain, ever, ever, ever. I don't have pain in my body in general, but I had neck pain. I couldn't turn my head at all. I became obsessed. I was watching like hours of these videos because like I just wanted to educate myself. And what the core belief was, A, I'm not enough. Like I need to draw in more. B, I'm going to miss a boat financially if I don't do something right now, right? But those are fallacies insofar as prosperity, abundance, all goodwill, all these things can come through so many different channels. Right. If you're open to receiving it, it can find you many different ways.
So what I think I'm hearing is the overall characteristic of this, right? Is, as far as everything, right? So the person that looks at the pile of cords and says that's just a pile of cords, they've just limited themselves because they only see one possibility.
Exactly.
The person who says, I'm going to miss the boat on my financial gain only sees one potential possibility.
They're seeing limitation.
So the limitation in your own life is a reflection of the limitation you have in your life.
Amen.
So trying to step out of that limitation is the goal, is the desire.
And you don't solve it from outside of yourself.
No, it definitely comes from it.
It comes from within, yeah.
So you got to have that introspection where you're looking in and you're saying, okay, I have a line here. Why do I have a line or a blockage or why can't I see something in a different light?
Right. Yeah. Why do I see the pile of cords over there and see it as just a bunch of junk? Because that's that's actually how I perceived it. I had it in the closet for like a couple of years. I wasn't using it for anything. I didn't have any application for it. Almost like the helium tank. But I realized somebody would. And you hold on to the helium tank, you realize somebody would. So I just put it on Craigslist, one, because I wanted to write a funny ad. And I got a bunch of laughs. Some people just kind of responded back and said, I want to make friendship bracelets with those cords. And I was like, cool. But someone else found application with it. Maybe somebody runs like a computer store, maybe like a nonprofit where they take this old equipment and they find use for it. But either way, somebody would have found an application for it had I not thrown it in the trash after writing that funny ad. I didn't think anybody, and that was my limitation, I didn't think anybody would be interested in a pile of cords that were all wrapped together. I thought I'd offered something that was basically going to be universally rejected. And that also shows you something else too. No matter how much you reject yourself, no matter how much you reject something around you, there's someone out there that loves what you are rejecting. Go on the internet. There's a genre of something that you disdain to no end that somebody loves to no end.
Absolutely.
And what that tells you is love always finds a point. There's nothing within the universe that is not lovable, and there's nothing within the universe that somebody won't cherish.
Right.
And it's just finding that home. But when you see something with limitation, you immediately conscribe yourself, you close yourself off, and it just creates of limitation. Looking at the financial market as like I'm missing a boat or something. Somebody could watch this and go, I feel like giving Ben $100,000. And I'd be like, thank you very much. I will receive that. Right. But that's my point is it can come anyway. You hear people all the time, like my buddy won a $90,000 Corvette. It's like, he put his $100 in a raffle for the Corvette Museum. He did the odds. He thought he had a good chance, and he ended up winning. But he also felt intuition with that. Yeah. Much like how you looked at the Five Guys thing, and you immediately saw application for it. Or how many people listening right now have a vision that keeps on coming. Right. And or they're trying to take something that doesn't have any application or value within their life and make it be something. I'm realizing that's also a truth where you can think and think and think and think and think and push. And that's what I was doing with the financial stuff. I was wearing myself out. And it isn't meant for me to necessarily express myself that way. I've got a partner right now who loves that stuff. She's taken it over. And one of my best friends, he's also taken it over. And they're researching. I know what they're talking about, but they're handling it. And when they handle it, my neck doesn't get tight. But because they're handling it, and they'll handle some of my money with that too, I can be hands off. But they love that. I don't love that world. I mean, I love all things, but that is not my expression, right? Maybe I'm great at playing the saxophone, but not the trumpet. Right. You got to know what your instrument is. My instrument is not finances. I understand it, but I tend to get so closed and tight with it. I hand it off to someone that loves that jam. And because they're so open, they can receive it.
Well, and part of it is also understanding the medium of the stuff that you're good at.
No, totally.
And just like the, the pile of wires, you might not be very good at that. Just like the helium tank, I wasn't very good at that. But it's not to say that like these steel statues, I can't do something, because I am good with steel and I am good with manipulating, and I can cut them apart and I can dissect them. And now as time goes on, I've even made statues out of reused rebar. Yeah. And I make these really beautiful expressions of emotion in these human forms that have just been a pile of rebar that was left to be put in a curb.
And the stuff you make is incredible.
And it is. Yeah. And it's got life, and it's got emotion, it's got all kinds of. So
you have one that's holding a heart, and it looks. It almost reminds me of like WALL-E. Like you can see
a little bit. Yeah.
You can see humanity in the face. You can see how it's like holding its heart right here. And I just feel, every time I see it, I just feel emotion with it.
Yeah,
it moves me.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that. And like I said, it was all just a pile of wire.
Yeah,
more or less.
Yeah, metal wire.
And
you found application for it, and that's more of your medium.
And so that's what it is. It puts it in there. So allowing the things that you're not able to focus on, able to put into, allowing it to pass through. Okay, allowing it to say, okay, this is not, because I think this is something that people get really stuck. They're like, oh, I'm not good at this, or I need to be better here. And sometimes one of my favorite philosophies that I offer to people is try a lot of no.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you try a lot of things, you say, no, I don't like it, you at least have an answer. You don't like it. Searching for the thing, and especially in the career world, right? Out of all these choices that are supposed to define your life, if you go, which one will be perfect? And we say this a lot for a lot of things. Which one will be the perfect flower at my wedding? Which car will be the perfect car for me? It's such a limiting point of view, because you're looking for that one that is right. And you can quickly decide what's not right. And you can say, okay, well, I'm going to jump in 15 cars, and I'm going to try a van. I'm going to try a short car. I'm going to try a fast car. And right off the bat, you're going to be like, oh, no, this is wrong. Okay, well, bam, by process of elimination, you have moved yourself closer to more what fits you and the success of finding that metaphorical perfect, because I still think that even perfect is the wrong expectation.
Yeah.
Right? Because perfection is perfection because it has flaws. So you got to have some of that leeway. There isn't perfect. It's this fit the best situation, and I had the most resources, and therefore I enjoyed it. None of that enjoyment is perfect. Part of perfection in your life is the hard work. We wouldn't prescribe hard work in your equation of perfect. You love the car that you drive today. You yourself have a brand new car, right? And you have ownership in that car because you put all of that hard work and labor into the finances, and then you work yourself up to that. And so a perfect car isn't, well, I busted my ass for 6 years and had to drive this jalopy so I could save money, and then I got this perfect car.
Because that's all resistance.
It is.
Yeah. So perfection is I think, the fundamental understanding that this moment, and this can't be understated, this moment is perfect.
Every moment that comes.
Every moment. So if you can just meet every moment in presence, in absolute presence, you'll recognize perfection in all things. So the labor then becomes a labor of love when we're in a flow state. And it doesn't matter what we're doing necessarily. It's like the Buddhist idea of before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It's the notion that whatever you're doing is a path of enlightenment if you're meeting each moment in that perfected state of just flowing and being with each moment. But yeah, I mean, I love the car that I'm driving right now. I don't have an attachment to it necessarily, but what drew me to it was I actually was enjoying it. When I got in the car itself, I actually felt my body open up, and I began to kind of smile while I was driving. I've been driving for years, but there was something about it that I felt like, wow, this is like, I feel exhilarated. I feel alive. Yeah. And I still do. Like a month later, I still feel like this feels like my car. this feels like in a flow. I listen to that flow state. You know, when you shut off and become tired and you've become disconnected, it's like you're out of flow. But it's meeting that perfection, and the perfection isn't necessarily to form.
Well, and I mean, even in the flow aspect of it, to speak to just those terminologies in themselves, like we were talking about, is the action of allowing certain things to pass through, certain things to, you know, pool around you, and certain things to elevate yourself above. Mm-hmm. You know, there's so many things when it comes to flowing that, you know, when you become resistant to that path, acknowledging the resistance is part of the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And then redirecting the flow is kind of where that key component can be to be able to give you new success in probably everything.
Yeah.
You know, it could be literally in work and your finances. Because if you're getting resistance in work and it's not working, if you redirect that flow, if you just say, okay, I'm going to let this pass through, this is not what I need to be doing, and I need to focus over in this area, and you then put your efforts and journey into that, you create something new.
Yeah.
And it can be happiness, it can be friends, it can be tangible.
But you're moving with the energy.
But you're trying to move with the energy.
Yeah. Do you ever hear of Ohm's Law before? You probably have with electricity.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know that version of it. Yeah.
So
if I touch two wires, I'll get electrocuted.
Well, that's...
I do that one a lot.
Well, no, it's path of least resistance.
Oh, it's definitely through me.
Yeah, so energy will follow through a more gated open path. So, you know, when you feel constricted and you feel tired and you're like pouring your energy into something that's not going anywhere, that's not where the energy is flowing. And I listen to that all the time.
You know, people do that. So one of the things that I probably relate to a lot in that aspect is artists do this a lot.
Yeah.
They will hyper focus and they will really narrow down their art projects. And I think that one of the things that they're doing themselves a disservice is they're restricting their growth because they're trying to get this piece of project to be so perfect that they don't move on to the next piece.
Yeah.
And and I'm sure to an artist, you know, when it comes, and even to my own stuff, right? I can always look at it and say, okay, well, I could do more. I could do something bigger, or I could do something stronger. I actually had this thought, even for myself. Well, let's take a musician, right? Oh, let's say Madonna, right? Been around forever.
Yeah.
Does she ever look at one of the songs that she first made a hit, something everybody liked, everybody thinks is a good song? Does she hate it?
She might.
Does she ever go, God, I wish I would have done something different with that song, you know? And because she tried so hard then to get it out, and it was successful even at that level, it was great. But then when you look back along and you go, years later, you go, man, that could be so much better. I don't think that ever goes away. Right?
Oh, right. That perfected edge or
right.
Always. Well, look at George Lucas. He redid his original trilogy. The 4, 5, and 6. He redid that in the 2000s and added these garbage CGI pieces.
Yeah.
Like Jabba the Hutt looking like a screensaver on the screen. Like that didn't look good at all. But it was just not leaving it alone and trying to tinker with it because he's like, no, it could be better. We get into that, you know. You and I talked about this today, like with what we're creating.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that perfectionism is I need to tinker with it and mess with it. There's a quote from Zig Ziglar, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.
Yes.
And you have to put something out there, and you have to be willing to refine it and actually find your flow. But to all those points, your chakra systems, your energy centers are like these open windows. And when you begin to constrain or tighten, like I was with finances or those other pieces, you're not allowing the energy to flow through. Life becomes very hard. One of the most powerful things I've done recently is just saying, I'm letting go of all of it. Just for a second, like if you just say it in your mind, I'm letting go of all of it. I'm not holding on to a single thing right now. And all of a sudden, this freedom rushes through because it's like all these things you were anticipating. I have to go here in an hour. I have to do this. No, right now you are just here. There's nothing else happening. I tell that to patients I'm working on. I'm like, when they're back there with me, I'm like, there's nothing else happening in the world right now, just you and I. And that's one reason why they feel such connection, because it's true. When I'm connecting with them, there's like 1,000% focus. And I go into a flow state. And then whatever needs to be said, whatever needs to be done is done. And it's perfection. If I tried to do it, like the conversations you and I have, if we tried and we just wrote it all down and we're like, okay, about 45 minutes in, okay, you say your line now,
Right.
it would become so constrained.
Yeah.
I was telling you about a lady who does talks up at our office on occasion, and she always brings all these notes and she does the same talk over and over again. She has so much to offer. But when you go up there and you're reading a script, people can tell. They lose interest rapidly.
Well, and you stop caring about the movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
You stop caring about the flexibility, and you start putting too many guys. It's not like, okay, so a river, right?
Yeah.
A river does have banks. There is a left bank and a right bank.
Are we talking finances again? Because my neck is getting tight.
Yeah,
as
the
you're
bank.
mentioning
That's true. No,
yeah.
no. Just
maybe
banks
another
of the
institution,
river.
maybe a church.
Just straight up. Well, you have to give 20% to God, so make sure that He gets His, financial.
Now, is it if it's a bank of water? Is it tithing or is it tiding? See what I did there?
I did.
Ebb and flow.
I liked it.
Water puns.
Ooh, water puns.
Hashtag dad jokes.
I had a dad joke, and I thought I was going to totally lead with that, and you've stolen the stage for the dad joke. Man, you got right to it.
Well, which one of these is laughter? That is horrifying. That's our laughter
all
piece.
Of the studio audience that we don't have laughing.
It sounds like a bunch of crazy people
and they
in an
laughed
asylum.
like 3.5 minutes late.
And they did. There was a little bit.
It was this like really drawn out. Like we explained it, talked about it, then they laughed. That's totally I think everybody believes
the drugs are just starting to kick in.
That's true.
Yeah.
Is it? Wait. Now that's honest laughter. That was a good ad. I like the sad horn. It was a good ad.
Right, but this is again applying to form.
Yeah.
We see the potential within something.
No, and you move,
and we are mastering it.
We're fucking around.
Yeah.
No, we're mastering anything.
Take that, you audiophiles out there.
So like the river, right?
Yeah.
So it's not that the river doesn't have two banks to keep it in some sort of shape, and then the river goes along the banks. So the banks don't cross the river. And then one of the other pieces that's really important about the flow of that river is it can manipulate those banks a little bit.
Yeah.
So it can meander and it can wind, and eventually it actually loops itself back around because it was meandering so much that it actually loops it back together and carves a whole new path through that whole section. And then there's a whole piece that was cut off from the whole river.
Yeah.
And the flow state, a flow state in general, or being able to flow through your life is so important to throw a couple designs together, throw a couple boundaries, because I think they're good. I mean, you just willy-nilly randomly walking around in the dark, you're going to bump into something someday, right? So you gotta have a little bit of a boundary. And then what you do is you just start seeing how you move in that. And you kind of bounce back and forth from bank to bank. You test them. Are they wide enough? Or are they too wide? Maybe I never got across. Maybe I wore out and I didn't get all the way across the river. And I'm tired. I need to bring that bank in a little bit closer.
Yeah.
I'm not a strong swimmer yet. I'm going to practice. And then what you do is you start seeing where it winds and when it turns. And then you're going to learn new movement. And you're going to learn new adaptation. And that adaptation is going to take you in a little bit different direction.
Yeah.
And so, it's the case of potentially George Lucas, right? It's not that he doesn't create amazing pieces of work. It's just he took something potentially and he had a really great system. Now, it's movies, so it's hard to repeat something over and over and over and over and over again for it to always be phenomenally better. But maybe that's also the piece. Maybe instead of it just being movement, he focused too hard on trying to be better.
Yeah.
So he tried to outdo the last one.
You took something people cherished and loved and tried to make it even better than it already was.
And make it better versus flow around the corner.
Yeah.
And really, he should have just taken the story in a different direction, not try to make it better. And that was really important for him. So when you come to some of these challenges, even like the Five Guys air ducts, right? I'm not trying to make them better. They're trash. I'm just trying to work with them. So now they're in my river. and how do they fit and where do they flow? Turn them around a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
organize them, let them sink to the ground, stand them up straight, whatever.
Or pass them on to someone else who needs them.
Or eventually they just get left on the bank.
That chord guy that reached out to me, he wants them.
He's calling. No, he is. He's like, we put another Facebook message out for air ducts to see what. And
my goal in life is to get on the best of Craigslist over and over and over again. Yeah. The writings I have for them are epic.
Right.
No, talking about George Lucas, it made me think about the greatest line of dialogue in any movie in movie history.
The end?
No, the greatest. It was it's in the prequels. It's where Anakin Skywalker says to Padme, and she says to him, "Hold me like you did on the moons of Naboo." And I think of that, and I just think,
this is the greatest line ever.
Maybe it's called into question, but I saw perfection in that line.
Is okay.
Yeah, because that's how people who are in love talk.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was told once by someone who was in love.
I need to say this. This is my. I love me like you did on the.
And also say I hate sand. That's also a great line.
It's in my underwear.
These are.
I hate sand when it's in my underwear.
You have sand in your underwear?
I mean, not.
We live in the
all
Midwest.
The time.
Why is sand in your underwear?
I mean, well, we've been talking about the banks of the river.
Sure.
You know, I mean, unless you a Missouri River and there's just a bunch of mud in your pants.
I'm pretty sure it's mud, and if I were to have like a microbiologist, he'd probably disagree on it being mud.
Yeah, it's probably true.
Right.
Some really weird organic materials.
Right. We're looking for a soap sponsor right now.
Yeah, soap sponsor.
That's right.
Wait, we can't shun Quick Trip just yet.
I've already done so.
I'm still drinking it.
Why do you always bring it up every episode?
I mean, it's indirect. It's projection.
Am I projecting? Or are you projecting?
I'm projecting.
You're projecting. So I have this sense that your Xanadu contains like a Quick Trip in it.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing. Okay, let's talk about that, right? Am I projecting or am I, is it hopeful? Do I want Quick Trip to be our sponsor? I mean, yes, it's a joke. I get it.
Sure.
But like, can it be I created metaphors before, but like if manifestation is something that's available, if being able to flow with stuff is available, what can you do with the resources that you have and the things that are available? It's probably a far-fetched, corporate business who doesn't give two shits about two guys talking about their feelings, Well,
I think what they want to do is sell nothing but that. They got stuck in the business of selling gasoline. And they're really looking a way to transition into feelings.
Into feelings.
Right. You go to the pump and you
get hugs.
Yeah.
And then hugs fuel your car. And then you just go to the other gas station, you get more hugs, and you go to another. Tesla's out.
I want to live in that economy.
Solar power is out.
Yeah.
Hug power is in. And then if you're really lucky, then you can get into the Care Bear stare. Yeah. And then your car is like turbo.
Yeah. You just run off your heart center.
That's exactly right.
Maybe the future is that.
Care Bear stairs.
No, maybe it's like our electrical field just picks up on those subtle energies. And
I'd be pretty dope if my car could run off my electrical field.
Tesla was like tapped into the ionosphere. He believes in free energy. And
Ed, and he could send energy without wires.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. So those box of wires, he would have been like, I don't need this box of wires.
Yeah, who
Look
needs
what
that?
I can do. I'm like Emperor Palpatine.
That's my hovercraft metaphor right there. Tesla, reinvented the wheel. And he created the square wheel. So instead of that, he was like, I don't need wires. I can just send electricity through the air.
Yeah, like Emperor Palpatine.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Palpatine was like the great grandson of Tesla. In some far-off distance galaxy. Although it was supposed to be in a galaxy far, far away and like a long time ago.
Well, that's still possible.
Right, alternate timelines.
I mean, if it was a galaxy far, far, far away
they could have had technologies.
A long time ago, that's how long it took to get here.
Yeah. Do you ever hear about like broadcast messages? I think we're kind of going off on tangents right now.
That's all it is.
Yeah. So broadcast messages, they say off in the distance, there are broadcasts of I Love Lucy going off into the cosmos and going off in different directions. So I'm hoping right now there's like an alien civilization going, what the hell is Quick Trip? And why do they talk about chords so much? And who is this George Lucas guy?
Who is this George Lucas guy?
Yeah. And why is that guy wearing a Nebraska shirt? He's not even from Nebraska.
No, I know. Tangents are good. I think a lot of our tangents are part of our flow state.
Sure.
You know, it's the lightness to the serious that we have.
Freeform jazz.
I mean, part of it, yeah. I mean, all day long. God, I hate freeform jazz.
Do you?
But I really do.
Yeah.
I really don't like it. It's chaotic to me. It's way too chaotic. Maybe this is too chaotic for somebody else. Someone's gonna be like, "This is freeform speaking." Screw that stuff. I needed. Well, and that's just it. So, like, we've gotten a ton of we've offered it out to. Okay, maybe not a ton. Several people. A couple. Okay,
well, if you put them all in a truck.
My best friend and your girlfriend, and that's all that know about this.
Yeah.
But like, we've gotten critiques, right? Some have been really harsh. I don't like it. I don't think you're doing this right. I don't think it's structured. Others have been really complimentary. I feel you guys' energy. I'm connected to what you're saying. And so, yeah, so we have a tangent. So we had fun with it. So we, made some aspect. I mean, everything of this podcast that we're producing together is a flow.
It's a dance.
And the most important flow is the one that we get to do together. And I think there's the connection of it too, because now I'm not just going down a river by myself. Now I'm doing it with my best friend.
Yeah.
And I think really then you touch on to an even bigger thing. It's connection.
Yeah.
The guy who wanted the box of wires just needed a connection.
Right.
Ironically.
Yeah.
A box of wires.
Pun intended. He's looking for connections.
Connections, yeah. But right, so he reached out to take somebody else's stuff and to be inspired by it. There's a connection in that.
Oh, absolutely.
Even the trash that was sitting there from Five Guys, there's a connection from me to Five Guys. It was a Five Guys that I actually went to.
Yeah.
And so
did you meet the Five Guys?
I did meet a couple of construction workers.
Were there 5 of them there?
There was no.
Okay.
No.
Probably not the 5 Guys.
It was
they're actually conjoined.
It's all 5
It's
of them.
a total medical mishap.
Nice.
Right.
Is it from Octomom then? Is that where they came?
I don't know. They have like 5 legs between them.
Only
And
5 of them survived.
But they have 5
3
torsos.
Didn't make it.
And they have 4 heads. I don't know how that works. 5 torsos, 4 heads. Technically 5 guys, though. Actually, it was 4.5 guys. They just rounded up.
Isn't that a TV show, 3.5 Men?
Yeah, 3.5 men. 3.5 men.
3 point.
Yeah, no, 2.5 men. Yeah,
2.5 Men. Yeah.
Charlie Sheen,
and
which by himself is like a punchline.
Wait.
But isn't that a funny projection?
What is 3.5 Men?
No, you say Charlie Sheen to somebody, and they perceive it as a punchline because of his antics and things like that.
Oh, really?
But the same flow of the universe, the same God that created all of us, or the same consciousness that flows through you and I, flows through Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
But probably a little bit faster because of the amphetamines.
Yeah, might be true. Might be very true there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and so like that's part of what this is this. These are the things. These are the experiences and the journeys that we've had, and our flow is to say, here's how we got here. Here's what we've done. Here's what we're offering to you, and we hope it helps. And maybe it's just laughter. Maybe it is just the pun. Maybe it's the bad dad joke that really set somebody off and they had a good time. Maybe it's our tangents. Maybe someone goes, God, those guys are really weird. And that dude loves fucking pirates. So I find it really interesting.
Was there like a pause between that? Or was it like, because that could be interpreted many different ways. He loves pirates?
Look, you are welcome to add an insert between the fucking and pirates as you wish.
I think I'm interpreting it many ways. And I have so many visualizations happening right now. Like, this is amazing. It's like,
or maybe it's a group effort.
5 guys.
5 guys.
It's 5 guys.
They were all pirates.
Yeah.
So,
well, swapping the poop deck.
Yeah. Well,
it's a metaphor.
It might be possible.
It's a tangent.
You would be swapping. Swapping.
It is free association, though. Do you ever see like Rorschach ink blot tests?
Yeah.
So you show someone an ink blot, and they'll see all sorts of different things, and you can infer their consciousness or their filters based upon that. So let's kind of pare it back a little bit for a second. Everything we're talking about is running through our filters, and our filters are perceiving reality. We assume that the filters we have for reality are absolute, but there's many ways you can look at it.
Oh, 100%.
So when you're looking at the world through limitation, you're seeing limitation. When you see it through possibility, it's a whole set of outcomes that you're now privy to. What I like to tell patients when they come in, because many of them come from the medical model. They're used to, you have a problem, you take a drug or a pill, and if that doesn't work, then you're screwed. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
But I tell them, if you just open up a little bit, right? You see a possibility where you didn't see possibility before, you can overcome anything. I have literally seen, name a condition, I've literally seen it reverse.
Well, I mean, there's miracles. What are they? They're just limits. They're limitless possibilities.
Right, but you go to the hardware store.
You know?
You go to the hardware store and you grab the right tool, and you can make a job be a lot faster. You talked about rocks a few weeks back. You were taking this tractor that was moving 27 tons of rocks.
Yeah.
In a very short period of time. If I had a shovel, it would take a lot longer. It's the same thing with health. I mean, and I know it doesn't seem applicable, but if I give you the right nutrients and I support your body in the proper way and I do something to mitigate your stress and I work on your physical body and we help other factors within your life and you get healthy relationships or move into a community where you're more balanced and open, or like the river example, you find that flow because you've hit each bank and you're like, nope, that took me to shore. I'm out of the river.
Yeah.
I'm now back in the river. Now I'm like flowing down the river. You find that flow and life starts to flow with you. And it's like that is looking at the world without limitation and also perceiving the world with a new vision or a new filter. And if you don't have that, then you kind of find yourself stuck on the bank.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah.
All day. I mean, and it's in that limitation we have put upon ourselves. I mean, it was taught to us by potentially all kinds of stuff, but
by people both that believe their own limitations, so they saw the world through limitation.
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because it's and why we hold on to it with such death grip, I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it just try something else.
Yeah.
And for me, like I said, the easiest thing for me is try another no.
Right.
Because you could just not like it.
And that's okay not to like it.
And it's
okay for that not to be, give it a chance though.
Yeah.
But it may not be your thing. You'll learn something from the no's, most definitely.
Yeah.
And you'll find the yes inside of yourself that is showing you where you're going with life. But we started over at my other space, and we were having a conversation about the projection to form and this identity. And I've said for a very long time, I'm none of these things, and you're none of these things either. So we're two friends having a conversation right now. To one perceiver, they'll say two podcasters. To another perceiver, a hairstylist and a chiropractor.
Right.
To another perceiver, a guy that loves effing pirates. And even that can be its own interpretation.
That's absolutely.
And all those things are absolutely true depending upon the consciousness that's perceiving it.
Yeah.
You get into politics and things like that too. It's absolutely true depending upon the consciousness perceiving it.
Well, and that's just it. It's the angle that you have yourself. So the person that can change the angle is you.
Absolutely.
And so if you're not liking your outcome, do something different. And I think that was a really interesting quote, right? It was Albert Einstein. Geez, am I really going to come up with a quote? I'm going to probably mess it up. But I think it was Albert Einstein that had said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right?
Something akin to that, yeah.
Let's hope that was even the right quote and the right person.
He said you can't solve a problem at the level of consciousness that created it.
Okay.
Which is like the same thing. We talked about that.
But yeah, right? So the definition of insanity is doing the same thing.
Totally.
Okay.
Totes.
So the key component of not having insanity is you. You yourself are the one that can change your outcome.
By perceiving reality in a way that is more connected.
Try doing something different.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, changing the filter, letting go of outcomes, letting go of expectations, letting go of everything for a fraction of a second, and just being with it. But not putting these limitations to form that leave you with nowhere to go. And
I think that's why we even came up with the cul-de-sac characteristic. And I think a lot of these topics are based off of the aspects of feeling stuck, feeling lost, feeling alone, and just saying that there's possibilities out there,
right?
And there's ways to increase our range of effort and expectations and expanse.
But it all starts with each moment. The old quote from Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching is, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step." It all just begins with seeing the perfection within this moment and moving from moment to moment to moment. If you're stuck trying to solve something that you're not solving, drop it. Let it go for a second. Ask the universe, ask God to show you, or just say, please show me what the right direction is. I find when I abandon or let go, I find a myriad of other options that were right in front of me all along that I was misperceiving or didn't see before. But just giving yourself that leeway to let go and be free. Freedom is in every moment. It's just a matter of whether we can receive that freedom that's all around us. And ultimately, life is about connection. When we're disconnected inside of ourselves or we're disconnected from the world around us, we're trying to solve it with our brains, but we can't do it. But everyone just wants connection. I thought about something, kind of in closing, but I thought about something in general. What is rapport, right? Rapport is affinity, rapport is connection. What we want to our core is connection. When people complain about being hurt or not receiving love, it's about connection. So let's say that instead of you talking to me, you're talking to a 5-year-old right now. You would raise your voice a bit. You would say, what are you doing right now? What's your favorite subject in school? What do you enjoy? Do you like any superheroes? You find a way to create rapport. Not that you need to talk to everyone like they're a 5-year-old.
All right.
But you can always find rapport. I have people I work on that are mechanics.
Yeah.
People that love NASCAR. People that are avid Trump supporters, people that hate Trump. People that believe in masks, people that don't believe in masks. But there's always a connection point. I don't need to talk about my division with them because I want to connect to them. So I just find where the connection is because there's a connection with everyone. It could be family. It could be love for family. It could be love for biking. It could be love for anything.
Yeah.
There's always an affinity point. It could be love for God. But there's always a connection point. And when we become disconnected, we become insane.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
And we fight the world. But we just want to connect.
Yep.
We think we're alone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
I think the most important piece of what I can give you is the I love you.
Yeah.
I mean,
is there anything more than that that's even required?
Not really.
No.
Not really. I mean, that's pretty all encompassing. It's one of the reasons why I think I love the fact that we end our show that way. Is it's the most opening gateway to all of our possibilities. I love you.
Yeah, and I love you too.
I accept you. In that statement, it says, I accept you. I love you. And
I accept you in your pirate ways.
I love that you love that.
I don't know that I love the pirate ways, but I love you.
You love some of those ways. They may love you the way that you don't love them. Maybe my pirate ways love you.
I'm not walking the plank. One way or the other. No, but the girl that came at me yesterday through anger is just an embodiment of what we all see. It's something where it within 30 seconds disarmed, and within a minute I expressed the fact that I love her as a being, as a friend. And that's all that she really wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
Is to know that I have that continuity, and it's true. And people can feel when it's true.
Yeah.
No, when I say I love you,
yeah,
anybody listening can feel it. It's true. Mm-hmm. There's not a question whatsoever. But that's what we are. And anyone who can't love is oftentimes just able to receive, or there's a blockage within them.
Yeah.
So
they're just not going with the flow. It's a pretty open statement, but
yeah.
But yeah. So, I don't know. Here's hoping that some of this helps people find a little bit better flow. Maybe some of the other stuff we've said before in the other podcasts that we've done, maybe those will help you.
Yeah. But, and maybe George Lucas is listening and he stops putting CGI into his old work.
I doubt that's going to happen.
Although I love George Lucas.
But see, right there.
That's all that matters.
I love you.
Yeah.
And I love our audience, and I love our feedback, and I love the people around me, and I love the people I haven't met yet. And I love life. So, yeah. All right. Love you, buddy. I love you. And thank you guys for listening. This has been Pinkie and the Ben. Pinkie dun, and dun, the dun, Ben. Dun, dun. See, it sounds a better sound. I still think that one's terrible. That's the worst laughter in the world. Yeah, we need more. Yeah. Best ending ever. Thank you. Yeah. Bye.